Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Alison Cray, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1 Peter Dorr. We are honoured to acknowledge Admiral Rabinder Doan, Chairman of the National Maritime Foundation and former Chief of Indian Navy, India, Major General Mervyn Tan, Chief of Air Force, Republic of Singapore, Air Marshal Leo Davies, Chief of Air Force Australia, and the accompanying delegation, as well as the Parliament of Malaysia delegation. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following schools from New South Wales: Lindisfarne Anglican School, Secondary Department, Terranora; Our Lady of the Rosemary Primary School, Shelley Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him in Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private William Lincoln Ray, popularly known as Will. William Lincoln Ray was born on the 18th of March 1894 in Marrickville, New South Wales, to Arthur and Annie Ray. His father, Arthur, was a prominent unionist and a founding member of the Labor Party. William Ray grew up in Glenorrhy and attended Glenorrhy Public School. After leaving school, he took up an apprenticeship in Sydney, working as a printer's apprentice. By the outbreak of the First World War, he was working as a letter press machinist in the inner western suburb of Marrickville. On the 28th of December 1915, Ray and his younger brother Don enlisted together at Casula. Following their initial training, the brothers were allotted to the 12th Reinforcements to the 20th Battalion. The Ray brothers embarked from Sydney on the 13th of April 1916 aboard the transship Ceramic. After disembarking in England, the brothers spent several months with the 5th Training Battalion before being sent to France in early September. Ray and his brother joined the 20th Battalion on the 7th of October, in time to experience one of the worst European winters on record. The battalion took part in the disastrous attack on Fleur. During the battle, Ray was wounded by shrapnel in his right arm and was evacuated to England. His brother Don came through the battle unscathed. While in England, he was able to reunite with Donald, who had been wounded in February 1917 near Bapamawi. After leaving hospital, Ray was transferred to the 61st Battalion as part of the AIF's attempt to raise a 6th Division. He remained with this unit until September, after which he was posted to a training unit for return to the 20th Battalion. Here he again reunited with his brother, and the pair returned to France in early October and rejoined the 20th Battalion. The battalion spent the next few months resting and refitting, with several spells in the front line. Don was transferred to the 19th Battalion in mid-January 1918 and was captured by the Germans while serving in the 5th Light Trench Mortar Battery near Hangard Wood in April. Ray made inquiries as to his brother's whereabouts and would no doubt have been relieved to hear that Don was alive, although he had been taken prisoner. In the early hours of the 8th of August, the Battle of Amiens, the great Allied offensive that would ultimately end the war, began. The 20th Battalion advanced under cover of heavy fog and took all their objectives. The battalion suffered 5 men killed during the morning, one of whom was Ray. He was 24 years of age. His body was initially interned at Fulyayi, but after the end of the war, with some of the smaller cemeteries being amalgamated with larger ones nearby, his body was exhumed and reinterred at Villiers-Bretonneux Military Cemetery. The depth of his family's pain and loss can be felt through the epitaph placed on their son's headstone. Another life lost, hearts broken for what? Further tragedy awaited the Ray family. Don was released in December 1918, but he contracted enteric fever whilst visiting family and friends in Scotland and died on the 15th of January 1919. William Ray's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is on display on the end of the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of the service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Lincoln Ray, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they'll be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening.